sweltering conditions, as we mentioned here in Tampa. From our net, we welcome in Chris Fisher. Chris?
Spiro, temperatures on the field right now close to 100 degrees, and they're expected to climb into the second half. Now, Lovie Smith had his Buccaneers team practice during the hottest part of the day during training camp to get better acclimated and then be able to use this as their home field advantage. Now, in speaking with John Harbaugh, he said he tried to bring his team indoors this week and then crank up the heat. But instead, they practice outside wearing sweatshorts and sweatshirts. They're just going to have to deal with the heat. Harbaugh believes he has an absolutely highly conditioned team, Spiro.
All right, Chris, that one booted away by Michael Kanan. Through the back of the end zone and a touchback for Joe Flacco and the Ravens. So Flacco banged around last Sunday. They got to him 3 times, Solomon, in the first half, and just never developed the timing that you're used to seeing from him in this offense.
Well, they're missing some components on their offensive line. A guy like Eugene Monroe. They're having to move some guys around, but remember, their center, Jeremy Zutaw, once played here for Tampa. They got to do a better job of protecting their quarterback today.
First and 10, Owen Daniels, the tight end, in motion from the 20 as penalty markers whistle that play dead.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Offensive starters alongside Flacco. We mentioned Zutaw, the former Buck. Last 6 years of his career here in Tampa, said he got a little bit emotional getting off the airplane yesterday. And Torrey Smith, John Harbaugh in our meeting with him yesterday, kind of called out his wide receiver. Just 11 catches for Smith after a career year last season. First and 15 after the penalty. Play action from Flacco. Throws far side, it's caught. That's the fullback Kyle Juszczyk. A wide load is the Harvard product up the sideline, 18 yards and a Baltimore first down. Defensive starters, that front for Lovie Smith, headlined by the All-Pro Gerald McCoy, still playing with that broken hand he sustained week 2 against the Rams. Mason Foster, sight for sore eyes for Lovie Smith, out the last 3 weeks with a shoulder separation. He is back. Major Wright starting again at the safety, and Cresden Butler, the 50-year safety, cornerback rather, out of Clemson, starting today for the injured Jonathan Banks. First and 10, this is Justin Forsett. Huge chunk of yardage inside Tampa territory. Finally knocked out of bounds, close to the 10-yard line as Forsett gashes him for 52 yards and a Baltimore first down.
Well, we told you he came into today's game with the highest yards per carry, and here you're going to see him just right here. And the key is follow the right tackle, and then that's where you get the seam. That's the aiming point. The outside foot, but see him cut it back inside. And then he finds a window. Even the great Gerald McCoy can't stop him. And this defense, period, for the Buccaneers, they've struggled all season long.
Forsett, who thought he was their 3rd-string running back before the season, suddenly a 4th straight start. All the injuries, of course, the Ray Rice scandal, as this is Bernard Pierce going to the right. Minimal pickup, Danny Lansana, the second-year outside linebacker there for the tackle. And where would this Baltimore team be, Solly, without Justin Forsett? What a pickup he's turned out to be.
It's exactly what John Harbaugh wanted. It's the reason why he brought in his new offense coordinator, Gary Kubiak. Balance in the offense. When they can run the football and provide balance for their quarterback, Joe Flacco, in every single game where they've had it, they've been able to come away with a win.
Third running back that we've seen already for Baltimore, Lorenzo Taliaferro. Flacco crossing pattern. Torrey Smith, touchdown. And how about that start for the Baltimore Ravens? They go 80 yards in less than 2 minutes.
They sure do. And they go man-to-man on the outside for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to see it right here. Watch him work inside. See, now he's wide open. And there's just no way. You have to be able to jam the receiver at the line of scrimmage. They beat Brandon Dixon on the play, but he didn't disrupt the release of Torrey Smith at all. Allowed the free release inside. Easy throw for Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco and this offense shot out of a cannon to start this game. 4 plays, 80 yards in a $149 as Justin Tucker, the Pro Bowl kicker, boots it through the uprights. The Bucs blitzed at the start. Mike Glennon and their offense onto the field next. Well, the Baltimore Ravens offensively throwing down the gauntlet. That drive actually started at their 15-yard line. You remember the false start penalty, Solomon, before that first play was snapped. Justin Forsett, longest run of the season, as they take it 80 yards, 85 if you consider the penalty, and take the early 7-point lead.
And we told you in the open that he would need to provide balance in the offense, and they start off the game doing exactly that.
Tucker's kick, Solomon Patton, the rookie out of Florida, unable to return. Touchback, and here comes Mike Glennon, third consecutive start. Just like last season, took over as the starter in week 4 with Tampa at 0-3, and back-to-back weeks where he has looked awfully strong. Felt like they gave one away. They had Breeze and the Saints on the ropes in the fourth quarter last week.
You get this sense that this is a guy that's really playing his way into the hearts and minds of the people here in Tampa. He's got tremendous skill sets that allow him to play at a high level.
Doug Martin, a Pro Bowl runner as a rookie 2 years ago. Long setback, 1st and 10 from the 20. Play action from Glennon. As time pocket collapses, hit as he releases out of bounds, incomplete. And it will be 2nd and 10. Starters in front of Glennon today. Logan Mankins, what a pickup. The 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, last 9 years with Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and the New England Patriots. Backs and receivers, we mentioned Doug Martin. Mike Evans did not play last Sunday with the groin. He is back. Went down week 4 against the Steelers. That come from behind win, which was the best game of his brief career. Evans, the 7th overall pick out of Texas A&M. 2nd and 10. This is Martin running left across the 25 and brought down at about the 26 after a run of 6. Chris Canty, surgery earlier this week to repair or to fix an infection in his wrist. So D'Angelo Tyson makes the start, 3rd-year guy out of Georgia. C.J. Mosley, what a start to his rookie career. 6th in the NFL in tackles, had 14 last week. And Lardarius Webb, 44 snaps last Sunday. Most extensive time that he has had after missing all of the preseason with a back. Today makes his first start with Asa Jackson out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Little pre-snap movement. Penalty flags whistle that play dead. Looks like it's against Tampa.
False start. Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Bucs, Solomon, committed 15 penalties last week, including 10 in the second half.
Yeah, and Lovie Smith talked about it, and they said they have to clean those things up. He talks about the discipline, and mainly the offensive line and just getting the plays in on time has also proven to be a problem without their offense coordinator, Jeff Teflon.
Let's go, Spark 4. Hey, Spark 4.
See, there you go.
It looked like
Before the snap. Timeout.
a timeout
They're
taken
first.
by the Ravens.
This is a 30-second timeout.
So Baltimore has to burn an early one.
Yeah, they burned one, and Glennon did a good job of at least recognizing the blitz, was able to set his protection. You can see Josh McCown's over there helping to coach the young Mike Glennon. The two have a really close relationship, and you remember when Josh McCown had taken some time off from the NFL, he had spent time coaching. He's a real good tutor, real good mentor, that spoke to the front office even before the draft, said, hey, you already have your quarterback of the future, and it's Mike Glennon. Those words coming from Josh McCown.
And Jason Lake, the GM, telling us the story of McCown walking into his office late one night before the draft and said, look, I don't know if you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, but you have your guy in this building. He has been as big a supporter of Glennon as anyone else in this organization. 3rd and 10 after the timeout, playing from the gun. There's it over the middle. They've got the first down and a lot more. It's caught out of bounds. Mike Evans, the rookie out of Texas A&M, 18th reception of the season, 25 yards and a first down.
Oh, I got to tell you, Glennon does a really good job of finding the open receiver. They're in twin formation, set over with the tight end, and see they clear off the middle of the field. And Evans is back from that injury. We saw him in practice. He looked good, and he looks good in the early going today.
Hey, Mike 57.
Evans, the best wide receiver in a very deep draft class in that position. As Light addressed a huge need for them in the offseason. 1st and 10, back foot throw as Glennon under duress. intended for Vincent Jackson, and it falls incomplete. And Terrell Suggs, Sally, who entered the day just with a half sack, all-time Ravens sack leader, applying the pressure.
Oh, you expect more from Terrell Suggs. There are some talented players on this defensive front, along with Haloti Ngata. We talked about Elvis Dumerville. You're going to get some single blocking if you're Terrell Suggs, and you've got to be able to win and get to the quarterback if they're going to block you with one guy.
Little pitch play on 2nd and 10. Wow. Ravens were not fooled. Doug Martin going nowhere. Well, here's Doug Martin. The injuries that he's had to deal with. Sally, as we take another look.
Watch this. Watch this. That's C.J. Mosley right there. Watch him come around, get around the block, and then find the ball carrier. Gets help from his defensive lineman, but Mosley, wow, what a talented player out of Alabama as a first-round pick for the Ravens defense.
What does Marcus Arroyo call here on 3rd and 10? Glennon again from the gun. Here they come. Glennon hit as he throws. It's intercepted. Jimmy Smith on the pick across the 30. Still going and finally dragged down at the 21-yard line. So Jimmy Smith with his first pick of the season, and Tampa Bay turns it over for the 11th straight game, 3rd longest streak in the NFL.
This is incredible. It starts with the pressure in the face of the quarterback, and you're going to see Darius Smith's going to come here, and all you got to do is sit and watch the ball come out on a 3-step drop on the hip. See, watch him sit. Good read, sit, ball comes right out. Excellent read and reaction from the quarterback, Jimmy Smith, but it was all started by the pressure by Darian Stewart.
31 yards on the return for a set. Had the 52-yard run earlier and all kinds of gaping holes in that Tampa defense. 14-yard run for Forsett, and it'll be 1st and goal.
This is just a really good run here, and it's just the ability to get to the next level. Watch the offensive line. Watch them move bodies. Kick out, get bodies on the ground, creating space at the 2nd level. This offensive line is coming out playing really good today, Spiro. We said they needed to run the ball in here in the 1st quarter. They're doing just that.
1st and goal. Here is Forsett trying to get to the outside. Forsett entered the day #1 in the NFL in average yards per rush at 5.9. Boy, he is built on that number in what has been an incredible start for the 7th-year man out of Cal. Clock continues to run. We are inside of 10 minutes. 2nd and goal. 7-0 Ravens, trying to capitalize on the Jimmy Smith pick.
They went to Torrey Smith down inside the red zone last time. Let's see if they can get isolation to the outside to Steve Smith.
Flacco on 2nd and goal. Throw end zone incomplete. Off the hands of Daniels. 2-time Pro Bowler had it. Should have been 6. It'll be 3rd and goal.
This is where Joe Flacco misses his other tight end. You're going to see there's Owen Daniels right there coming inside of Levante David, trying to hit him between the linebackers. But remember, Dennis Pitta has been so good for so long for Joe Flacco. He was lost in the game to Cleveland with that hip injury. I think he's sorely missed in this Baltimore Ravens offense.
Tougher catch than it appeared initially, especially in this sun, for Daniels, who's making his 3rd straight start. Flacco throwing end zone. It's caught. Torrey Smith with his 2nd touchdown of the quarter. 8-yard on the touchdown reception. And the youngster who John Harbaugh kind of called out in our meeting with him yesterday, boy, has he come to play. 13-0 Ravens.
Very interesting. Watch number 15 in front of him. Mike Campero. Look at, he sits down low, and then on the 2nd level behind him is Torrey Smith. That's what creates the window, and he hauls it in. He had a very tough week. Been asked a lot of questions about the lack of production.
Smith really struggling in this Gary Kubiak offense that has kind of highlighted the underneath throws. But what a start for him, his 2nd and 3rd touchdown of the season. First 2 grabs today in the end zone. Tucker's point after is good, and the Baltimore Ravens up 14-0. They are cooking here at the start. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
14-0, a couple of touchdowns for Torrey Smith. Let's go back downstairs to Chris Fisher.
Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy told quarterback Mike Glennon, "You lead, we'll follow. You're our ringmaster. You have to lead this circus." So far for the Buccaneers, that's exactly what it's been, Spiro, a circus.
Well, Mike Glennon not initially given a chance to win the starting job that he held for 13 games last year. First rookie quarterback in NFL history to throw a touchdown pass in his first 8 games. Did a lot with a little, Solomon, in terms of the teammates that he had last year. Lovie Smith wanting to bring in a guy that he was familiar with. He spoke about Josh McCown. They said they just kind of wanted to see Glennon work. And once they did, they kind of changed their tune, saying that Glennon is our guy of the future here. Tucker boots it away. This one again will sail through the back of the end zone. We'll get Sally's thoughts on Glennon as this offense already 2 touchdowns behind. 9:22 left in the first. Thursday football starts here. Rex Ryan's Jets trying to right the ship. They'll take on their old friend Tom Brady and the rival Patriots. Another big-time matchup in prime time. CBS and NFL Network. All kinds of issues for the Jets. Geno Smith. Is Rex Ryan going to be around for much longer? Just a 1-4 start, Solomon. And look at those offensive numbers. Not very good.
Not good at all. Hard to win when you don't have good play at the quarterback position.
So how do the Bucs respond? We think back to that just debacle in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, Solomon, down 56-0 in that game as they entered the fourth. They spoke about how shook up they were. Big win in Pittsburgh. Felt like they gave one away last week, and now suddenly behind the 8 ball again.
Yeah, you lose by 42 points. You can see first quarter point differential. Been getting off to some bad starts. It's the worst in the National Football League, and it repeats itself again today. Now they can't allow it to snowball on them, and we'll continue that after this play.
51, hurry!
Keep it on the ground on 2nd and 11. Nowhere for Doug Martin to go, and already the Bluebirds out here in Tampa.
And remember, after that 42-point loss in Atlanta, what did Lovie Smith say? We watched every single piece of tape. We told the players, you have to wear it. And the key is he's got to get his players to start faster here at home. They thought that the heat would work to their advantage, as Chris told us at the start of the game. But you have to get off to a fast start, and you really have to keep the pressure on your opponent so you can't fall behind by 14 points in the first quarter here at home.
5-0-1.
Glennon from the gun, 3rd and 11. They're coming again over the middle, and it is nearly intercepted. Boy, Darian Stewart, the safety, had it, somehow lost it. Huge break for Glennon, and the Bucs will punt.
Started with pressure, Spiro, on the quarterback. Look at coming off the edge. Look at Suggs getting to the quarterback. Dumerville, as we told you, pinching the pocket and then forcing the high throw. We always say pressure leads to picks, and that one should have been picked off. They just didn't catch it.
Stewart, the 50-year safety out of South Carolina. So far, nothing working for the Bucs. Their ground game has produced next to nothing, and they have not been able to keep Glennon upright. Michael Cannon's punt, fielded by Jacoby Jones. Muffed a punt last Sunday in the loss in Indy. 40-yard punt and a 10-yard return. So again, a short field for Joe Flacco, and what a start for this offense. 14-0 with under 8 to play in this opening quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Fidelity Investments. Tap into the full power of your Fidelity Green Line.
Here in Tampa, Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, Chris Fisher, our entire CBS crew. This is Bernard Pierce. Baltimore in front 14-0 if you've just joined us. Mike Glennon nearly throwing his 2nd pick a moment ago. All kinds of issues for their offense, and on the other side, smooth sailing for John Harbaugh and the Ravens.
Well, they've come out and they've been very aggressive on both sides of the ball, taking shots, and you can see the point total was reflective of blitzing the young quarterback Mike Glennon. and then pounding the run game with Justin Forsett. And then Flacco and the receivers have been very good down inside the red zone.
2nd and 6. Flacco's going to air it out. Throws far side. Little short pass fielded. That is the rookie backup tight end, Crockett Gilmore. First-year man out of Colorado State, whom they drafted in the 3rd round. Suddenly a little bit higher up on the depth chart with the injuries that they've had to deal with. Dennis Pinna, one of the focal points of this offense, going down with the hip.
And Gilmore looks impressive. He's 6'6", 250. And the big guy can move. He could end up becoming a weapon in this Ravens offense.
3rd and 1. Pierce, big bulldozer of a back, getting the yard and more as the Ravens able to move the chains. John Harbaugh talking this week about the revolving door at the running back. Says he doesn't care who gets the carries as long as they're effective. And that has been the commitment, as you mentioned earlier, that Gary Kubiak has shown. So.
And one way to be effective as a running back in the National Football League, you can't take negative yards. You can't get tackled in the backfield. You can't get caught running backwards. That's why they have a one cut and get going downhill.
1st and 10. In the middle, it's Torrey Smith. He has been lightning here at the start. Already a couple of touchdown receptions. Michael Johnson got him from the back, but not before he picks up 18 and a 1st down.
At the bottom of your screen. Look, they just allow a free release. That's the cornerback, Cresden Butler. They don't jam them at the line of scrimmage. There's no pressure in the face of the quarterback. The way you stop the passing game in the NFL is you have to disrupt the timing between the quarterback and the wide receiver. If you don't do that, they'll pick you apart.
Torrey Smith, look at his numbers. 3 catches, 42 yards, and the 2 scores. 1st and 10, they keep it on the ground again. That is Pierce. Keep in mind, Jonathan Banks is out today, starting quarterback for Lovie Smith. Cresden Butler making his first start as we take a look at the 3-headed monster at the running back for Baltimore.
You want to win in the NFL, you got to run the football. It doesn't have to be one guy. It could be 2 guys or 3 guys. But look at the impressive yards per carry average on that top bar. 5.9 for Justin Forsett, 4.4 for Bernard Pierce.
And Forsett tops in the league in that category entering week 6. 2nd and 8. Flacco's going to run. He's very lethal throwing as he scrambles. He is incomplete through the hands of the fullback, Juszczyk. And it will be 3rd down coming up. Michael Johnson applying the pressure on Flacco.
Michael Johnson was nipping at the heels. Watching number 90 at the top, coming from the blind side of Flacco. Flacco can fill him, but you know he's like, don't do this. Boys and girls at home, don't throw the ball late over the middle of the field, because that ball could easily be intercepted. You see it's only one purple jersey. He threw into a crowd of white jerseys. Had that ball been tipped, could have easily been picked off. And I think the Ravens are happy it was an incomplete pass.
See their struggles on 3rd down last week. Over the middle, touchdown! Kamar Aiken, the 2nd-year man out of Central Florida. And the Ravens are pouring it on. 17-yard strike, 20-0.
Wow. That's all you can say, because this looks nothing like a Lovie Smith Tampa 2 defense. Nothing like it. Look, it's going to come from right over here. They don't jam him at the line. They don't disrupt the timing. Quarterback throws the ball in rhythm. The route is in sync. He's uncovered because they're in zone, and they're going to find the window to complete that pass. It's just like 7-on-7. No pass rush. They don't disrupt the timing of the receiver. Easy completion, easy touchdown.
21-0 Ravens. It is target practice for Joe Flacco. 50 yards in just 2 minutes, 44 seconds. All Ravens in Tampa.
You are watching the NFL on CBS.
Kamar Aiken, 17-yard touchdown reception. Flacco's 3rd touchdown pass of the 1st quarter. That ties his career high as this nightmare start continues for Lovie Smith and the Bucs.
Yeah, they're not playing with the principles that you're used to seeing from a Lovie Smith defense.
Solly, what did he call his defense? Not the Tampa 2, it's the Clearwater 2, he said so far. The St. Pete 2.
So this is unrecognizable. And that's from the head coach, Lovie Smith. His defenses are known for pursuit, hit, hustle, excellent tackling, disrupting the receivers at the line of scrimmage before they release into their route, and being able to create turnovers. And we've seen none of that so far, the early going of the 2014 season, from a lot of talented players over on that sideline here in Tampa.
Emotional week for Lovie Smith. Had to miss practice Thursday. Flew to Columbus to attend the funeral of his father-in-law, Robert Ford, who passed away last week at the age of 91. This is Bobby Rainey. Entered the league as an undrafted free agent with the Ravens. Let's go back to New York and an update with James Brown.
Spiro Cincy answers back.
Yeah, how about this? A.J. Green out, Marvin Jones out, but Brandon Tate takes his swing pass. Great job getting the ball across the end zone. 7-7, Cincy ties it up.
Spiro, Solomon, and Chris.
So Marvin Lewis and the Bengals unbeaten at home since 2013. As we keep you updated around the NFL. Glennon going backwards. Brandon Williams, Elvis Dumerville meeting at the quarterback as they dump him for a loss of 9.
Yeah, I thought the right tackle, Dotson, got back soon enough. And remember, they've spent a lot of money on this offensive line, Spiro. Evan Dietrich Smith, the center, comes over in free agency. Anthony Collins comes over in free agency. They trade for Logan Mankins, and right now the floodgates are pouring in on the young quarterback, Mike Glennon.
3rd and 19. Rainey lining up in the slot. He is the intended receiver, and Glennon so far out of sorts, to say the least, as this offense once again booed off the field.
Remember, their offense coordinator, Jeff Tedford, is out. And this offense seems to be out of sync. I know there's a lot of moving parts there, but watch, pressure here. Now, he can complete this pass. He throws it right at the feet of Bobby Rainey. Did not even give him a chance. Now, I know young quarterbacks, they're good ones until they start to get hit. You start to get hit, take a beating, then you start throwing passes like that.
Cannon on the punt. Jacoby Jones signals fair catch, and they will have it around their own 43-yard line. So Glennon 1 of 6, 25 yards and a pick. Oh, with NFL Mobile, stream live local Sunday afternoon primetime games and NFL Red Zone right on your mobile device. Learn more at NFL.com/mobile. Well, now Lovie Smith asking his defense somehow to keep it 21-0.
Well, remember, the defense is playing a lot of snaps because the offense can't stay on the field. The offense, they're not sustaining drives. And so this heat, it could end up working against the home team more than anything.
Temperatures approaching the triple digits. Torrey Smith, all the talk about where has Torrey been career year last season. Just 11 catches solidly through the first 5 weeks. If you've just joined us, he's got 2 touchdown catches already as he approaches already now 60-70 yards through the air.
The media asked him this week what was going on, and he just politely said, you know what, I'm sick right now. I've never been in this position before. He had been struggling mightily, and now he's digging his way out today.
2nd and short. Kubiak elects to keep it on the ground. This is for a set. At the 52-yard run to set up their first score earlier. That time 5 yards and a first down for the Ravens.
There is Gary Kubiak, the offense coordinator. You know, everywhere Gary's been, he's been able to run the ball. I think his style within his system gets the ball carrier, the runner, to the second level of the defense more consistently than any other offensive system right now in the National Football League. That zone blocking scheme, and if the running back is in sync with the offensive line, yards are to be had.
Smith in motion. Flacco's going to throw it on 1st and 10. Over the middle at the seam. It is caught by a leaping Torrey Smith, who has wrecked this Tampa defense. Penalty marker comes in late. It's a 14-yard pass play. Here's Jerome Boger.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense, number 53. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's their center, the former Buck, Jeremy Zuttah.
Watch number 53 right there. There it is, hand to the face. Working against 97, Akeem Spence. Jeremy Zuttah, we spoke with him last night, Spiro, and you know, he talked about, I was emotional about coming back. He said, as soon as I thought about having to block Gerald McCoy, all the nostalgia went out the window. Reality set in.
Guy had to battle in practice over 6 years stint here in Tampa. Here's Forsett looking for some open space. Gets close to the 53-yard gain after the penalty. But Zuttah said that basically McCoy in practice is impossible to block in pads. And he's like, you asked him, did he ever kind of get emotional and get fired up? He's like, no one wanted to fight.
No one
McCoy practice.
Not in training camp, nowhere, anytime. He said, but the moment that McCoy stepped on the field after being drafted as a rookie, we knew he would become a great one. And right now, though, this offensive line is having their way with that defensive front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Look at the total yardage, first downs, owned by the Ravens, up 3 touchdowns. Flacco throwing off his back foot. There's his man. It's the tight end Daniels. First down and a lot more. Major White, the safety, forces him out 30 yards through the air as Flacco and this offense continues to march down the field.
I just love the recognition. There he is right there. He's going to be matched up against number 50, Dane Fletcher, man to man. And look, just runs away from him. And the quarterback recognizes single high coverage. We expect Tampa to zone defense here from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He caught him in man-to-man coverage, and Owen Daniels was able to win against the linebacker Dane Fletcher.
You saw that 94th straight game with a catch, longest streak among active tight ends in the NFL. Here is Forsett, unable to get to the outside, brought down behind the 20-yard line. As we now are under a minute left in this first quarter, we go downstairs again. Check in with Chris Fisher.
Spiro, Danny Lansana, the outside linebacker for the Buccaneers, who has 2 interceptions on the season, just walked back through the tunnel. He's going to have his head checked for potential concussion-like symptoms. We'll have much more coming up, Spiro.
All right, Chris, second INT return for a touchdown last week in the loss. Flacco's pass incomplete, unable to locate Steve Smith Sr. over the middle, so that'll stop the clock. They'll run at least one more play with 12 seconds left in the quarter.
You know, Steve Smith Sr. is going to go back to Joe Flacco and says, look, I'm big, but I'm not tall. I play as if I'm a large man, but that one is just way high. He'll go back and tell his quarterback, protect me, and I'll make plays for you.
Lovie Smith, we asked him about Steve Smith Sr., said he's playing as well as any receiver still. Just incredible what he has done at the age of 35. Ended the day 4th in the NFL in receiving yards at over 460. 3rd and 9 from inside the 20. Flacco's going to take a shot. End zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Miraculous catch by Michael Campanaro. It is 27-0 Baltimore.
That is just one heck of a play by Campanaro. He's only 5'9", Spiro, but watch him climb the ladder here in the slot right now. Look, they tried to jam him at the line, but look, he gets beyond it, just goes vertical. And so when you don't get your head around to find the football, number 29, Leonard Johnson, got to get your head around, find the football. Campanaro did, and he was able to come down with it.
So Campanaro, the rookie out of Wake Forest, the youngster that they took in the 7th round last May, with an incredible catch as he climbs the ladder. Career high 4 touchdown passes for Flacco in the first quarter. It is 28-0 with a second left in the first.
Look at that, 4 first quarter touchdowns, a career high. Some guys haven't done that in a game. Joe Flacco getting it done in a single quarter. And here you're going to see Campanaro right here, and the ball is going to be extended right over here, right over down the hash. And this is just a beautiful throw, man-to-man coverage, and watch him climb the ladder to go get it. 5'9", but you can play big when you have vision in on the football and making a play on it, as Campanaro did there.
A chance for Campanaro to get a little bit more playing time with Marlon Brown, a scratch today, down with injury. 224 yards of total offense for the Ravens. Solomon 20 for the Bucs.
I love he's going to have to go coach that defense himself. I mean, he's going to have to, take the headset off, the head coach. It's his defense. You hire people to come in and get it done. But you have to wonder, okay, what's going on? This is just not what we're accustomed to seeing from a Tampa 2, a Lovie Smith type defense in terms of technique, the speed in which they're accustomed to playing, and then the tenacity and intensity is just not there.
Well, you think back to that loss in Atlanta. They were down 56-0 going into the 4th. They had all kinds of injuries that night. This, in a lot of ways, Solomon, is even worse. It's in their home stadium in front of their fans, and we're still not out of the first quarter.
They're healthy, and they're playing at home. And we thought that they were growing in confidence and becoming a dangerous team. We said they were the best 1-4 team around.
So So far, not so much. Joe Flacco doing anything he wants so far.
He finds his man. He's throwing with great accuracy because he has excellent time. Why does he have time? They're able to run the football. So whether it's play action pass, whether it's just throwing it up with a jump ball to Campanaro, they're doing basically whatever they want. 28 points scored. They had a season low. 13 points scored on the road last week against Indianapolis. Gary Kubiak pulling out all the stops, putting the game in the hands of his quarterback.
Final play of the quarter. Leonard's going to throw it deep down the near side, and a fitting end to what has been just a nightmare opening quarter that mercifully comes to an end. 28-0 Baltimore. As we head to the second, you're watching the NFL on CBS. 28-0 visitors in front as we start the second. Chris Fisher, can't imagine it's a very happy sideline for the Bucs.
No, not at all, Spiro. There's a sense of frustration on both sides. And with the offense being on the field, Mike Evans yelled out, "I am open all the time." There's just so much pressure, they can't get him the ball, Spiro.
Can't do much of anything right at this point. Here's Glennon again, slammed on a release intended for Doug Martin. And they haven't helped the young quarterback, the second-year man making his third straight start as they came up the gut, the rookie C.J. Mosley.
Well, he's getting hit just about every single time. Take a look. You got pressure coming off that side, and they're getting receivers open. But take a look right here. Oh, that's C.J. Mosley coming up late on what we call a green dog blitz. He came late up the middle and is able to get the hit on the quarterback. They're going to have to shorten up the routes. You're going to have to get the ball out of the hands of Mike Glennon a lot quicker. You can see he's been hit, hurried, and harassed a number of times while being under pressure.
Glennon so far is 1 of 8. As you saw, hit again on the throw. They have not given him a chance. That time, Haloti not out. The 5-time Pro Bowler coming from the back. What a play by the 9th-year man, and they will punt.
He's becoming a human piñata. He's taking a beating. Look at this. Even more, he got to get hit again. Right there. Doesn't go down, but he's been knocked down. He's been hit, sacked, and unable to connect with his receivers downfield because he's under constant pressure.
So Cannon, busy man already. Campanaro back to return. Campanaro from his own 40 signals fair catch. 40-yard punt by Cannon. And once again, a short field for Flacco. Saturday, it's the best game from the best conference as the Bama Crimson Tide rolls out the unwelcome mat for the Aggies. All the hoopla begins with college football today right here on CBS Sports. Bama, Auburn, and Texas A&M, a combined 15-4. All 4 of those losses coming against teams from the state of Mississippi. So college football continues next weekend. Spiro Dita, Solomon Wilcox, Chris Fisher, our entire CBS crew in what has been a laugher till this point, 28-0. Joe Flacco, career high in touchdown passes in the first quarter, 4 of them if you've just joined us. Solly, there has been nothing that they have not been able to accomplish till this point.
Now, I'm going to give them a lot of credit. I think the Baltimore Ravens came down here with a purpose, and so did their head coach, John Harbaugh. Had his team thoroughly prepared to come off and get off to a very fast start. Something they did not do 1 week ago in the loss on the road at Indianapolis. They've been able to rectify that because they've got balance on the offense.
Bernard Pierce, they fake to him, play action for Flacco. All day to throw, throws it deep down the near side. He's got a man in his cut. Steve Smith Sr., touchdown. 56 yards. And this one is hard to believe. 34-0 with just over a minute gone by in the second.
Lovie Smith said that Archeron Verner would go one-on-one with Steve Smith Sr. But I'm going to tell you this is a cagey veteran. Watch him push off ever so slightly with that right hand about the 15-yard line, right there. Just enough to cause slight separation. We always say the hand is quicker than the eye. When we are a defensive back playing against receivers, you can see the hand of Steve Smith Sr. was so quick, the official never saw it. Just a slight push to get separation as the ball arrived.
Lovie Smith, as we all know, a very proud football man. He has watched his team get embarrassed so far in this first half, and there are still 13-plus minutes left before halftime. 5 touchdown passes. Flacco is picking them apart on CBS. 5 touchdown passes for Joe Flacco. Last one to Steve Smith.
Well, I got to tell you, he did get away with one. Flacco knows it. But it's just good chemistry right now between Flacco and his receivers. Equal opportunity. Everyone's catching touchdown passes.
Those 5 touchdown passes have been thrown to 4 different receivers as Steve Smith Sr. solidly able to sneak behind that secondary.
Yeah, let's watch it right here. See, watch that right hand. It's enough to slow up Werner. See it right there? And then he gets the arm. It's just enough to get separation while at the same time slowing down Alteron Werner. And it's those subtle moves. It doesn't look like much, but when you're running full speed and a guy gives you that kind of nudge, it's enough to get separation and then close to the football and the throw from Flacco.
Almost an impossible task now for Mike Glennon and this Tampa offense that has had to deal with so much adversity. Going back to training camp now, down 35-0. Minimal gain for Doug Martin. The boos continue. Sally, you mentioned Jeff Tedford, who is scheduled to be their coordinator, had to take a leave of absence through heart condition, and there is their 34-year-old quarterbacks coach. Marcus Arroyo was on Tedford's staff at Cal, really thrown into the mix, had never coached at the NFL level before this season.
And the NFL is different, and there are some growing pains, just like any player coming into the league and having to adjust to the National Football League. Mark Arroyo is doing that. And they have other coaches who are helping with the process, but on game day, it's all Marcus Arroyo calling the plays.
2nd and 9. High catch taken by Evans, the rookie wide receiver. Ball came out after he made contact with the ground. Oh, Arroyo really the only guy on this staff that realistically could have handled this. A guy who has knowledge of the system with Tedford at Cal. And really it's his show at this point. I wonder what he's thinking right now, down 35-0.
Well, earlier in the season, there was some criticisms here in Tampa that the offense wasn't going deep. They didn't have really any shot plays in the offense. And so some of the other coaches helped to install deeper throws down the field. We saw them win against Pittsburgh doing that.
Here's Glennon going through his progressions. 3rd and 7. Forced out of the pockets. Going to have to throw across his body. Won't even attempt it. Runs out of bounds. As they continue now to go backwards. Pernell McPhee, Elvis Dumerville applying the pressure. 4th straight 3-and-out for Glennon and this offense.
Now, I'm going to show you something. Go ahead and snap it right now because, see, the ball is right on about, what, the 22-yard line? Now, see, watch where he goes out of bounds. So he's got to throw this away, and now he goes out of bounds behind the 20-yard line. It's a loss of yards on the play. Just a smart quarterback, you got to throw it away. Don't take the loss, but nonetheless, they don't pick up 3rd down anyway.
Cannon, the 10-yard punter, boots it away. Jacoby Jones spinning up the sideline, run out of bounds. 34-yard punt, 35-0. Ravens dominating.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
35-0 if you've just joined us. As one-sided a half as we've seen certainly this season. 1st and 10, Joe Flacco, another short field inside Tampa territory to start the drive at the 48. This is for a set. 52-yard run to set up their first touchdown as Steve Smith Sr. entered the day 4th in the league in receiving yards, doing it again.
The 35-year-old veteran, he's schooling defensive backs. What did he say against his guys in Carolina? As if they were kids on the schoolyard. He's still doing it at the ripe old age of 35, putting up huge numbers. That was a 3rd down play. It came into today's game with the most receiving yards on 3rd down, and it continues.
Flacco's going to throw it up the seam, incomplete. First time he and Torrey Smith have not been able to hook up. Sally, you think of the great receivers, Jerry Smith at the top of the list, the guys who were able to produce all the way to the end of their career. What he continues to do at the age of 35 is just remarkable.
And, yeah, defies logic, or at least what's natural. And I think the one thing that all those great ones you talked about have in common, it's their tenacity. It's that energy to go out and compete and win on every single down, every single game. And he brings loads of that to this football team.
Gerald McCoy, who had to face him twice a year when Steve Smith was with Carolina, said he's not only been the greatest competitor in the NFL, but in all of professional sports. Big statement from a guy who's been his opponent. And there he is right on cue. Steve Smith Sr. again, lauded by Lovie Smith when we sat down with Lovie here on Friday. He's approaching now over 520 yards receiving through 6 games.
And I love the way that they use him. We were there that week 1 game in Baltimore against Cincinnati. He had some struggles earlier in that game. Dropped a few passes. Joe Flacco stuck with him, stayed with him. They continue to work together. That's how chemistry is built. You have to be able to overcome moments of failure before you get to taste success.
First and 10 play. This is fourth set. Rare time that Tampa's defense has held. Steve Smith has just terrorized this Tampa defense over the years. He's now got 100 career receptions against them. As you see what he has done and where he ranks, Solomon, in the NFL.
Yeah, fountain of youth. You go out and compete, all the years he's been in the NFL, you can put up these kind of numbers too. But you talk about those explosive pass plays, 25 yards or more. He's got 5 of those. And he's able to stretch the field. It really does help the run game as well.
Over the middle, this is first set. Penalty marker coming in behind the line of scrimmage. And this one is coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That's the rookie tackle James Hurst, undrafted out of North Carolina. 3rd straight start with the injured Eugene Monroe, out after arthroscopic surgery on his knee.
You know, going back to Steve Smith Sr., we talked about his ability to stretch the field, take a look at the offensive yards. And I said how it helps the run game when you have a receiver that can get deep. Now the secondary defenders have to respect the pass, and you have fewer defenders in the box.
Flacco going through his progressions again. This is Taliaferro, the rookie running back. First-year guy out of Coastal Carolina, who has looked awfully impressive in the few chances he has had. 14-yard pass play through the air as they gain a chunk of that penalty yardage back.
And we see 2 straight completions to running backs. We saw Forsett catch one, now Taliaferro. And that's what the effects of Steve Smith and other receivers being able to get deep. That leaves room underneath to work the pass game. It leaves room underneath in the running game. Fewer defenders at the line of scrimmage, spreads the field. It all starts with their ability to connect on the deep ball.
Campanaro in motion. Flacco from the gun, 3rd and 8. They get some pressure over the middle. It's caught Taliaferro inside the 30, still well short, about 6 yards shy, and almost a mock sarcastic cheer from these Tampa fans as they finally are able to stop the Ravens offense.
Yeah, 5 possessions into the game. Now they're 6. Joe Flacco has to come off and not score a touchdown. Yeah, I think Kubiak will forgive him on this one.
Sorry, this is such a crazy lead. How do you explain 1 week after going to New Orleans and nearly beating the Saints, coming home and losing right now 35-0 in the second quarter?
You know, sometimes a loss, even though, remember, they had an 11-point lead in that game and lost on the road. You have to wonder if it took something out of them.
Justin Tucker, 46-yard field goal, boots it through. The Pro Bowler a year ago. Tex on 3 more. It is 38-0. All Ravens. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start your week off with a bang, a big bang. Catch Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on TV's #1 comedy. It is an all-new Big Bang Theory tomorrow, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Now the Ravens' possessions, first time that it did not end in 6 points. 46-yard field goal a moment ago. You heard the mock cheer from these fans in Tampa. And so those numbers, Solomon, speak for themselves.
Yeah, but the punter has yet to step on the field for the Baltimore Ravens. 6 possessions, 6 scores, much to the dismay of Lovie Smith and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You're right. Sam Cook just working on his tan down on the sideline.
He's getting a good one. You sure he's not in that pirate ship over there?
By the way, Solomon, happy belated birthday. Solomon, turned 50 earlier this week. Looks great. Lovie Smith may ask you to strap it on and get down on the field at this rate. But a happy birthday, brother. Solomon Patton on the return. Across the 10 and brought down at the 15-yard line. So 38-0. 8:34 to play in this first half, and you look at the Tampa Bay offense, first half differential at -58. Solomon, worst in the league.
Yeah, that speaks to a lot of things. Obviously, lack of organization on the offensive side because you're not able to score, but defensively very generous. And I think the front end not getting pressure, and then on the back end blowing coverages. Just coming apart in a lot of different areas.
1st and 10. This is Bobby Rainey against his old team that brought him into the league undrafted a couple of years ago. So there had been a lot of talk, even after the Bucs lost last Sunday against the Saints, that if Mike Glennon continued to play well, he would pose a very tough problem for Lovie Smith once Josh McCown came back. You have to think that talk will kind of taper off after today if this game holds up.
Yeah, there's some of that. But I can tell you this: I don't care who you play at quarterback. If you don't protect your quarterback, it's going to be tough to win. And right now, he's been bludgeoned by this defensive front.
2nd and 5. Rainey again across the line of scrimmage. Let's go back to New York, get an update on the Jets and the Broncos with JB.
Hayden and Demarius Thomas.
Yeah, watch it right here off the play action, 3rd down and goal. Jets doing a great job all day, but he finds him. 10-7. Denver takes the lead back over the New York Jets.
Patience indeed, Coach. Back to Spiro, Salo, and Chris.
All right, so the Jets desperate for a win. See, Denver haven't been able to win away from the Mile High City till this point. 3rd and 4. Can Glennon and company get a first down? The answer, an emphatic no. Elvis Dumerville, Haloti Ngata. 3rd sack of Glennon.
I got to tell you, on this one, Glennon's got to have a better head in his clock. I mean, better clock in his head, I should say.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, that'll get John Harbaugh a little bit displeased. Matt Elam, the safety. So instead of the punt team coming on and the defense getting off the field, automatic first down for the Bucs.
And by a better clock internally, what I mean for Glennon, you got to understand that they're blitzing. You've got to be able to see the overload. You understand the protections. You can't block them all. You've got to get rid of the football. Bad things happen when the quarterback hold on to it. Sometimes you have to save yourself and help your offensive line when it comes to the protection scheme.
Offensive numbers ugly to say the very least for this Tampa Bay team, down 38-0 and just 2 first downs at the 7:04 mark of the second.
Now this defensive front for Baltimore, they are coming. Likes of Brandon Williams, Haloti Ngata.
Bucs have had no answer for them till this point as they split Rainey out. Bottom of your picture on 1st and 10 after the penalty. Glennon, they protect him. Finally over the middle, it's caught. That's the rookie tight end, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and another mock cheer from the Bucs fans.
Yeah, the fans like it. We have weapons. Guys like Seferian-Jenkins, 6'5", 260 pounds, the big tight end right in the slot, middle of the screen, matched up against C.J. Mosley. Look, they threw it right in the window where the big guy still hauled it in. That was a very small window for Glennon to squeeze that ball into.
Only the 3rd first down, one by way of penalty as they pick up 18 yards through the air. That is Rainey, nowhere to go on first down. You look at the targets, Solomon, that Glennon has. Seferian-Jenkins, 6'5". Mike Evans, the rookie wide receiver, at 6'5". Vincent Jackson stands 6'5". They've got some very big weapons here. As Arroyo trying to unleash some of these guys, they've yet to score.
And what does that mean? You still need a plan, a design within the offense to help get these guys open. We saw him do that on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers, come from behind and win, down by 7, and still able to come from behind and win it. But they've got to be able to do that today against this Ravens defense.
They called him the Buccaneers here in Tampa. Glennon again wrapped up right on the release. It's Terrell Suggs, who has been unleashed today by John Harbaugh and Dean Pease, their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, look at this. He's just going to come from over here and watch the left tackle. That's going to be Anthony Collins, 73. Goes right around him. Look at that. and gets to the young quarterback. Collins was picked up from Cincinnati as an unrestricted free agent this offseason. He's got his hands full with Terrell Suggs. Came into today's game with only half a sack. Getting his money's worth today.
3rd and 8. Ravens coming again. Glennon steps up. And they just have not given him any kind of a chance to succeed. C.J. Mosley got there first for the Ravens defense.
And I said earlier, they've got to start running shorter routes, getting the ball out of his hands, 3-step, 5-step drop. But he's having to hold it too long on a 7-step drop. The protection isn't good enough to hold up. You can see the pocket collapsing. Haloti Ngata, C.J. Mosley. And he's getting hit on every single pass play.
Sully, you wonder what's going through the mind of a guy like Logan Mankins, who averaged 12 wins over his 9 years with New England. Knew that this would be a bit of a work in progress, but this is something that Mankins has not had to deal with in his NFL career. As a fair catch signaled, and Tampa able to mark it down at around the 28-yard line. 38-0 on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bose, official sound of the NFL. And by Ameriprise Financial, more within reach.
$38-0 Ravens as we check in again with Chris Fisher.
Spiro, after that last defensive series for the Ravens, Pernell McPhee needed some oxygen, and C.J. Mosley getting stretched out a little bit to avoid cramping. The Ravens obviously kind of wilting in the heat, but with the secondary in the lead, they'll be able to handle it.
A little bit easier to deal with this lead. Most points that the Ravens have scored in the first half in franchise history. That's Crockett Gilmore, the tight end. Harbaugh tried to get his guys prepped for the heat. Mentioned the game, Solomon, that they played in Miami last year. Harbaugh says he almost passed out in that game. And he had a funny line. He said, he always tell you to stay hydrated in this kind of heat, but as a coach, you don't get any bathroom breaks.
No breaks for the coaches, so you got to be careful with the hydration even. You know, Chris talked about those guys down on the sideline. Look at all those guys. Those are guys on the defensive line. They're tired because it's a race to the quarterback. Every guy's trying to get their hands on the quarterback. They're playing lights out.
On formation set, this is Bernard Pierce. So Tampa's defense, Solomon, have to be embarrassed with what has happened again. You referenced the Atlanta game. They allowed 56 points. But the difference there is that they were missing so many key guys. Gerald McCoy was out with the broken hand. Michael Johnson was out. Mason Foster is back today. He's been out for 3 weeks. This is as healthy as they've been in quite some time. And for this to happen really defies explanation. Keep it on the ground again. This is for Seth on 2nd and 11. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report will send you to New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher will get you around the league on this week 6 in the NFL. Also a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. The Verizon halftime report is next.
Yeah, this defense you talked about for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what are they known for, at least under Lovie Smith? Pursuit, tackling, and turnovers. And we just haven't seen that, at least not on a consistent basis. It did when the coverage breaks down on the back end. It results into big plays, a lot of points for the opposing team.
So Flacco has done 5 of 6 on 3rd down before that incompletion through the hands of Jacoby Jones, who has struggled with some drops on the year. Tough play here, and the Ravens will punt.
This was better. It was good coverage on the back end. But still, this offensive line is doing a great job of protecting Flacco. The first time they've had to punt all day.
So they dust off Sam Cook onto the field, the 9th-year punter out of Nebraska, and former 6th-round pick. Good-looking boot. Fair catch signaled, and it will take a Tampa bounce into the end zone as they will mark it at the 20. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosted the 2nd annual Treasure Chest 5K Run Walk earlier this morning, kicking off a full day of events highlighting the NFL-wide Breast Cancer Awareness Month celebration. More than 3,000 runners participated in the race that supports breast cancer research and patient services. Help finish the fight against breast cancer by visiting, NFL.com/pink. Celebrate the NFL and American Cancer Society's first ever A Crucial Catch Day on October the 25th. You see the touchdowns in comparison to Tampa and the 3 first downs that they have. All 5 Ravens scores on Flacco throws. Doug Martin on the short reception. A lot of talk about Doug Martin trying to get back to the player he was, Solomon, as a Pro Bowler and a rookie a couple of years ago. Last year went down with the season-ending shoulder injury. And since that point, has not quite gotten to what he was as a rookie. Glennon on 2nd and 7, caught over the middle to Vincent Jackson. First time they called his name today. 18 yards and a Tampa first down.
Well, remember Al Davis said the quarterback must go down. He must go down hard. He does here, but not before releasing this laser to Vincent Jackson. But Glennon, we told you he was taking a pound, and even on passes that are completed, he's going down hard.
The market just outside the 40. Only the 4th first down for the Bucs. 1st and 10. Glennon is going to throw it incomplete. Sally, let's get back to Doug Martin. What have you seen from him so far coming back from the injury?
Not as explosive as he once was. Now, obviously, you can have better blocking, creating some holes up front. But certainly, he was much more decisive. You can see those first 16 games averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Those numbers are down. But the key is being able to find the end zone and making defenders miss in space. Something he was very good at. He was very difficult to tackle even at close proximity.
Glennon on 2nd and 10, completes right up the seam. That's the tight end Brandon Myers, his first reception of the afternoon. So that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Bucs still getting shut out on CBS. Cool Joe Flacco, as cool as they come, having a good old time today. Most points in the first half by a Ravens team in their history, 38-0. As the Bucs right now face a 3rd and 7 from inside their own 45. 1 of 7 today on 3rd down. That one whistled dead. Jerome Boger is our referee. This one appears to be against the defense.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's Harbaugh's linebacker, Darryl Smith.
He's over anxious. I told you it was a race to the quarterback. they're needing Gatorade, they need fluids over there, because this is a sprint to get to the quarterback. But patience needs to be had. Now on 3rd and 2, let's see if this defense can come away with a stop. Better yet, let's see what the Bucs can do with the ball.
3rd and 2, Glennon's going to take a chance down the field. It's Jackson, and it is. What's the signal? It is a catch. Heading, bobbled it, somehow comes down with it. First down, Tampa, 33 yards through the air.
I don't know how he comes down with it. I don't know how. Take a look at this. He gets it. Dominique Franks can't keep him away from the ball. He catches it, it comes out, and then he catches it again. There's Franks right there ripping away. See, Franks gets it out. Ball comes out, never hit the ground. He's able to haul that one in, fraction of an inch from touching a blade of grass.
Franks, who they signed on Tuesday. We mentioned Asa Jackson going down with the toe injury. Very fit at the corner position. 1st and 10, Glennon flushed out. Penalty marker comes in behind the line of scrimmage. That is incomplete. And then another flag in the end zone. Looks like they'll say it was an uncatchable ball, so they'll pick up the 2nd flag. C.J. Mosley among the defenders on the coverage. Clock is still running here in the stadium.
There is no foul for a defensive pass interference on the play. The pass is ruled to be uncatchable. We do have holding. Offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's Dotson, their right tackle, 60-year man out of Southern Miss.
Yeah, they're having a tough time right there. See, against Dumerville. And watch Dumerville. It's going to come underneath. There's the grab right there. Had that hand tucked under the shoulder pad of Dumerville. Had him hooked. Got to release him if you can't block him.
Please
Dodson,
look
whom
at the
they
game clock.
acquired as a free
1
agent
minute, 13
in
seconds.
2009.
1:13 on the game clock.
They'll put some more time back on the clock. They'll set it at 1:13. So 1st and 20 after the penalty. Hard to believe that just a week ago, this Tampa Bay offense put up 31 points, season high. 0 so far. They get to Glennon again. Guess who? It's Terrell Suggs from the bench.
Anthony Collins was used to blocking against this Ravens defense, having played in the AFC North for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Suggs got his number. Suggs knows it. Coming right here, you've got to be able to block that. That's just one-on-one. He knocks down the hands and turns the corner.
Glennon flushed out. Where do they go on 2nd and long? All day. Completes up the sideline, but a minimal pickup to Mike Evans, the rookie wide receiver. Now you look at Suggs, Solomon, coming into today, fewest sacks through the first 5 games of the season since 2007. Had none in that stretch. Finished that year with just 5. Boy, he has come to play today.
Yeah, he's getting to the quarterback, and he's making his presence felt in the backfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can see him coming off for a little rest. We talk about defensive linemen needing to be in a rotation. As you look at Suggs on the sideline, that's why they need a rotation. They've got to spell one another because you don't want to be tired in the game and not be able to provide the pass rush.
Especially in this heat. Glennon again under pressure, throwing end zone, and that one was nearly picked. Webb got a fingertip on it. And now Webb looks like he's a little bit shaken up. Webb, keep in mind, did not play a snap in the preseason, lower back injury.
Yeah.
Last Sunday, his first extensive time of the season. And you don't like that reaction from Webb, a guy who is such an integral part of this defense, 60-year player. First start today with the injured Asa Jackson on the shelf for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Asa Jackson had been improving as a young player. We talked to John Harbaugh about Asa Jackson, and obviously Darius Webb's been battling injuries. He didn't play at all throughout preseason. Missed the first few games of the 2014 regular season. Got himself sort of tangled up, hit the ground pretty hard. It's nice to see him walk off.
It's a very thin cornerback position as Jackson is out. If Webb, for whatever reason, can't go on, they're down to just 3 healthy cornerbacks.
Well, Jimmy Smith makes up for a lot of that. He's playing at an elite level. Already an interception in today's game. We spoke with him last night. Can't be more impressed with what I've seen from him. He's playing like a top corner in the National Football League.
Here's Patrick Murray, the rookie kicker out of Fordham. Will hit a 55-yard field goal last week. This will be from 45 yards out. That kick last week and the loss against the Saints, the 4th longest in franchise history. That one has the distance and fittingly hits the upright and is no good. And that has been the kind of day it's been for Lovie Smith and the Bucs.
Wow, they were selling luck. It would be marked up to be unaffordable because they can't buy any right now. That one hits the upright, ricochets outside, falls no good.
Osali, they were getting healthier, welcoming some key guys back defensively. First home game in nearly a month for Tampa Bay. It was all kind of lined up for Lovie Smith today, but this has been a nightmare of epic proportions. First and 10, this is for Sam. Gashes him for another chunk of yardage, approaching the 45-yard line. Again, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report will get you to New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, Coach Cowers standing by. All the latest NFL scores and highlights. Plus, they'll have a preview of Thursday Night Football coming up on CBS and NFL Network. All ahead on the Verizon Halftime Report next. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, Chris Fisher, rest of our CBS crew from Raymond James Stadium. John Harbaugh and the Ravens have made this place their own today. Most points that the Ravens have scored in the first half of franchise history. Justin Forsett entered the day first in the league in rush yards per carry at 5.9. He's going to build on that number. 90 yards in the first half.
Well, they're getting opportunities to run the football, something they did not have a whole lot last week when they ran it only 15 times. And today, they're much more balanced.
Flacco on 1st and 10, going to throw over the middle. Caught as Campanero had the long touchdown receptions earlier. Looks like they're going to want to run another play here. And Flacco will just, looks like spiking the football. Solomon, thoughts? A little bit surprising that they don't just kind of run out the remaining time.
What are they trying to do? Are they trying to get more points? I would have thought they would let the clock run out right there. Let it run out, go in at the half. Are you trying to get more plays out of this to get more points? Even Lovey's probably wondering what's going on. Now, of course, they have to defend it. You have to wonder if they're going to take a shot here or just take a knee.
So that'll raise some eyebrows. 2nd and 1. Looks like Flacco's going to throw one more time. That one will sail out of bounds. So interesting finish to this first half, to say the least, as Justin Tucker, their field goal kicker, Solomon, is going to come out and attempt a monstrous field goal.
Yeah, that was really interesting because they could have let the clock run out. Maybe they thought Tampa would call the timeout. And I know they don't want to give them the ball back, but to go for a field goal to get more points here. In college football, they call it rubbing it in. In the NFL, it's called competition.
64-yard attempt from Tucker, blocked. That's a live football. And finally, Tampa is able to fall on the football as a first half mercifully comes to an end for Lovie Smith and the Buccaneers. 38-0, Baltimore in front. We'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. $38-0 our score as we get ready for the second half here of the NFL on CBS, continuing from Tampa. Spiro Dedes and Solomon Wilcots with you. You look at the stats at halftime, Solly, try to make any sense of what we saw over the first 2 quarters. Just one turnover. It's just been really Lovie Smith's defense has been awful at this point. What can he do? What can they do, if anything, to make this just respectable?
Well, the only way that you can get back into a game like this, defensively, you got to go out and take the ball away. You've got to start creating turnovers, and then the offense has to capitalize on every single possession. Right now, that's what we've seen from Joe Flacco on the offensive side of the ball for the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, let's go down now with our sideline reporter, Chris Fisher, who's got a little bit more information on what John Harbaugh was trying to do at the end of that first half.
Yeah, Spiro, Solomon, I know you guys were kind of questioning that last final call with the field goal opportunity for Justin Tucker, but in talking with Harbaugh, he said it was a token shot at the record for Justin Tucker. Now, Harbaugh did say that simply the Ravens capitalized on Bucs mismatches and turnovers and field positions. That's why they jumped out to the 38-0 lead, Spiro.
All right, so that explains a little bit of John Harbaugh's thought process. Solomon, I'm not sure that'll win him any fans in that Tampa locker room, but still the whole half of football left to be played as you look at the numbers in that first half, and as you'd anticipate, all Ravens.
There's no doubt, and all Joe Flacco with the 5 touchdown passes in the first half. He had 4 in the first quarter of this game, so he came out on fire. As we saw from that entire Baltimore Ravens offense.
The 38 points scored by the Ravens, most in a first half in their franchise history. Just to throw this out at there, biggest comeback in NFL history, 32 points. January 3rd, 1993, that Houston-Buffalo game up in Western New York. Buffalo was down 35-3, came back and won it in overtime. One of the shockers in NFL history, 41-38. In overtime, the game that Frank Reich brought the Bills back. And these fans can only hope that they can somehow, Solomon, just make this respectable You know, such an emotional game. So tough to come back from one of these one time in a season. Had to do it after the Atlanta game. And suddenly dealing with this.
Well, we always say turnovers are the great equalizer. You want to even up the score in a game like this, all you got to do is go out and take the ball away. And if you're Baltimore, you got to protect the football.
Tucker's kick booted through the end zone, and they will have it from the 20. Mike Glennon beaten up, 3 sacks, and boy, it seemed like they were on him solidly every time he dropped back.
Hit, hurried, and harassed in this game. He's gone down and gone down often. He's also gone down hard. Even when he's able to get rid of it, they're still getting the jersey dirty of Mike Glennon. Take a look at it. They're going to have to do some real laundry to get that uniform clean.
Only the 16th start of Glennon's career, 5-10. Took over week 4 after the injury to Josh McCown in Atlanta. A memorable come-from-behind win the following week in Pittsburgh had them so confident here. Then they blow the 11-point lead last Sunday in New Orleans against the Saints, beaten in overtime by Drew Brees and the Saints, as Doug Martin picks up 4.
You know, just getting back to maybe having a more calm experience on this first possession here in the second half. Get the run game going. Short rhythm passing, just to negate that mean pass rush of the Baltimore Ravens.
Glennon on 2nd and 6. They keep him up right there. It is complete near side of the field to Louis Murphy. His first catch today. 10 yards through the air and a Tampa first down.
And less stretching the field, less holding onto the football by Glennon. Shorter routes by the wide receiver there, as you saw to Louis Murphy. I think that's the kind of rhythm you have to have. Now remember, Glennon throws the ball very well, Spiro, moving out of the pocket. Let's move the pocket a little bit. That's how you protect that left tackle, Anthony Collins, who seems to be struggling with Terrell Suggs.
Glennon on 1st and 10. Again, a release. This time he finds his man. It's caught. Safarian Jenkins inside Ravens territory. First down and a whole lot more. We'll see where the officials will mark it out of bounds as they move the chains again, pick up a 30.
Now this is the route that beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, that 3-receiver side, and you can see Safarian Jenkins right there makes a nice catch, the big tight end over the middle of the field.
38th overall pick in the NFL draft. Man in motion is Robert Haran, the rookie.
He came on the field late. He wasn't even in the huddle.
Hey,
Glennon trying to get him organized.
5 seconds of light, line.
Play clock down to 4.
Go.
Glennon on 1st and 10. They're crossing right over the middle. They cross the 30, brought down at the 26. Once again, Murphy. As you take a look at the comparison first half and what he's done now and in overtime on the season.
Well, this bodes well, I guess, for Tampa. The slow start by Mike Glennon in the first half, but look at him pick things up in the second half or in overtime, where the lion's share of his production has come.
2nd and short. Doug Martin able to pick up the first down, getting close to the 20. 4 yards. Martin in the first half under 10 yards on the ground, Solomon. As a struggle of the season continues for him.
And what do those numbers mean for Glennon? It tells you he's got some poise. He'll hang in there after a slow start. But it also tells you he figures the game out the deeper he gets into it.
Closest that they've been started today. Look out! He takes a vicious hit by Darryl Smith. Dangerous looking play there. 4th sack of Glennon.
Well, the reason why it was dangerous because he never saw Smith coming. Smith was on the green dog blitz. I even had to wince. Watch him right there. He comes late. And once the back turns out to block, then Smith replaces. See, watching Martin turns out to pick up C.J. Mosley. And then here comes Darryl Smith.
That's one where the lights go out for a moment.
I felt that
7-yard loss. You can certainly feel the crunch up here in the booth. That's Doug Martin on 2nd and long. Crosses the 25, close to the 24. But one thing you can say about Glennon, the kid is fearless. One of the things they like about him here in Tampa. On in relief of Josh McCown in week 4. And McCown trying to coach him up through a very difficult set of circumstances here, down 38-0.
McCown went through this week 3, the Thursday night game in Atlanta. He was knocked out of the game, hasn't played since.
Penalty markers whistle the play dead. Again, our referee today is Jerome Boger. So one of the officials signal false start as we await the call. We've seen a lot of this year, Solomon. Penalty markers thrown and then a lot of conversation.
False start, offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That's the All-Pro Logan Mankins. Also tough to evaluate a young quarterback, Solomon, facing this kind of pressure today.
Yeah, but some of those, remember, we talked about it earlier, he has something to do with those numbers because he could have gotten rid of the ball. He could see the key read on the blitz and make sure he gets rid of the football. So it's a total team effort.
Here they come again. Webb coming on the blitz. Brennan saw him. He just airs it out to the end zone. Jenkins caught it. Still waiting for the official signal. Jackson, I should say, on the catch, went up high for the football, and now they say touchdown. Vincent Jackson using all 6 feet 5 inches of his frame, climbing the ladder for the 29-yard touchdown reception.
What did we say earlier? We said 6'5". How do you use that? You do this, jump ball. Dominique Franks. Let's see who has hops. Who's got the vertical jump? Oh, Vincent Jackson plays the role of the power forward, comes down with the rebound. Body positioning, doesn't push off, uses his hands to steady himself. But that heel, is that back heel on the white? The toes were in, but I think the white heel may have hit the chalk.
It's on the review.
They got to look at it anyway because it's a scoring play. Great catch. I thought the heel came down on the chalk.
Every scoring play automatically under review. And this one could very well be coming back. That back right heel of Jackson. Timeout. Jackson's touchdown catch under review. Did that back foot come out of bounds? Let's bring in Mike Carey, our officiating expert. Let's get the call first here from Jerome Boger.
It is an incomplete pass. The receiver stepped out of bounds with the heel of his right foot. It'll be 4th down and 17 at the 29.5 yard line.
With his right foot is a natural step, so toe heel. The heel gets out of bounds. That makes it automatically incomplete. The heel hitting the pylon has nothing to do with it because it's not considered out of bounds by that point, not until it hits out of bounds with the heel. And you can see the ball is short of the goal line anyway because it's inside that right foot. So if with the completion, it still would have been short of the goal line, no score.
All right, Mike Carey, we thank you from New York, our officiating expert. So that negates, Solomon, a very tough catch by Jackson, and as a result, incomplete 4th and 17 from the 29-yard line. So Murray, who missed earlier from 45, now will try from 47. This one once again has the distance, and this time he splits the uprights. So finally, the Tampa Bay Bucs on the scoreboard at the 10:50 mark of quarter number 3. Another look at the Jackson near touchdown negated.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Toyota Care. Scheduled maintenance, no cost. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
Some stunning helmet cam footage from the pregame jump by the United States Special Operations Command Para Commandos in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Amazing.
Flying high, just like the Baltimore Ravens offense, right? Soaring above this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team at home, expected to use the heat to their advantage. Thought the Ravens would wilt in the Florida sun, and boy, they haven't. I mean, they've come out, gotten off to the fast start that Coach Harbaugh talked about. We met with him last night. This team has responded, and I got to give Coach Harbaugh a lot of credit. Tends to get his team up in the bit and prepared to play.
Here comes Jacoby Jones across the 15, past the 20. Return of 23 yards, and they'll have it from the 21. Coming up tomorrow on CBS, no matter the odds, these geniuses can always depend on each other. Don't miss the new hit drama Scorpion tomorrow night, 9/8 Central, after The Big Bang Theory. We're at Raymond James Stadium, early second half. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, Chris Fisher, rest of our CBS crew. Both of these teams trying to respond after a loss in Week 5 last Sunday. Looks like an injured Buck on the field. They've already had to deal with injuries in the back end of the secondary. This is Brandon Dixon, the rookie out of Northwest Missouri State. Stay with us. Brandon Dixon, the rookie cornerback, being looked at on the trainer's table. Now looks like they'll bring him into the locker room. Flacco has been brilliant today. Here was the 5th of his touchdown passes in the first half.
Yeah, right. It's just a play action bootleg. Look at the ball fake. And look at the defense. They all go running with the running back. Flacco's got all day. When he scrambles, he goes deep. A nice little push-off by Steve Smith Sr. 56 yards later, they beat Alteron Werner for a touchdown. 5 touchdown passes on the day for Joe Flacco. He's been red hot. And we got to now start talking about him and being amongst that elite group of quarterbacks the way that he's carrying this football team.
1st and 10 from the 21. This is Pierce. Make it 4 set, and the late penalty marker comes in behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's the 3rd holding penalty on John Urschel, the rookie out of Penn State. A lot of talk about Flacco last year. Maybe the worst statistical season of his career, but as Harbaugh said, they just asked him to do too much, Solomon, with that O-line decimated by injury.
And totally agree. And this year, they're asking him to still do a lot, but with a running game like today, over 100 yards rushing, that's enough for him to work with.
Use check in motion, play action again from Flacco, fooled everyone. Thrown across his body, it is use check on the catch, the rookie. Make a second-year man taking on some tacklers. Out past the 20, brought down at the 22. Alteron Werner on the tackle, a pickup of 12.
And we don't give him enough credit for doing this. At a 6'6", 230-plus pounds, he can still move well. Talking about quarterback Joe Flacco, throws the ball with great accuracy as well.
Justin Forsett, long setback, 2nd and 9 from the 22. Here's Forsett, started his day with a 52-yard burst. Danny Lansana, the second-year backer on the tackle. Let's get an update. Back to New York, JB and Coach Cowher.
I wonder if Spiro or Solomon knows this now.
I know they will know it. There's a wide receiver sighting in New England. It's called Brian Timms. He catches his pass from Tom Brady 43 yards out. They take a 20-7 lead. I know Sully knows who Brian Timms is.
If they do, boy, Spiro, back to you.
I know what, the Bills know who Brian Timms is now, Coach. They found out the hard way.
Ravens send Aiken in motion. Forsett, again the lone setback. Flacco on 3rd and 6, over the middle, Aiken. Penalty marker flying. Aiken tackled short of the 30, needed to get to the 31 for the first down. So a short pickup of 3, and now we wait the call.
See those microphones they have? Aren't they supposed to use those to talk to one another?
It's a great question. We've seen more huddling and conferencing amongst officials this year from the time the flag is thrown to the call, maybe, than we've seen ever. All kinds of confusion.
Illegal shift by the offense. The tight end was on the line of scrimmage and went in motion to the other side of the field. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
A lot of talk, of course, with the rule book a little bit thicker. Solomon, all the additions during the offseason, almost 1,000 or make it 100 more penalties at this stage to where we were last season.
Yeah, you have to really legislate within these games, and obviously it's tough on the officials. The game is played at an extremely fast pace, and obviously the NFL is trying to improve in all areas.
Sam Cook punting it away. Bobby Rainey backpedaling. Actually, this is Patton. across the 15-yard line, brought down at the 16, 63-yard punt. And a return by Patton for only 7. Another marker comes in right around the tackle. Clock stopped at 8:33 to play, a 35-point lead for the Ravens.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 89. Half the distance to the goal. Tampa Bay keeps the ball. First down, timeout.
Russell Shepard is the culprit, so Glennon and company pinned back deep in their own territory. Next.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Oh, they're handing out the beads here at the Pirate Ship inside Raymond James Stadium, just trying to entertain themselves. As the Ravens up 38-3 with 8 and change left in this third quarter. Doug Martin able to find a rare seam in that Baltimore defense across the 25, brought down at the 26 after a nice first down run of 19 yards. Access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app. Get it right now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. Clock continues to run. We come up on 8 minutes left in the quarter. 35-point deficit for the hometown Bucs. Laying back to throw on first and 10 up the sideline. He's got his man. It's Myers, the tight end. Second catch for Myers. First 4 years in Oakland. Last season with the Giants, 26 yards and a first down.
Yeah, Brandon Myers, one of a 3 tight end package that should factor heavily in this offense today. But we just haven't seen a whole lot of them. Nice catch, nice throw, simply because the quarterback, Mike Lennon, had nice protection.
Martin alone set back as the Bucs keep it on the ground. Tampa inside Baltimore territory, a run of 4 yards. Now late penalty marker comes in, players have to be separated. Looks like it was Murphy and Jimmy Smith joining each other. Well, this young kid, Jimmy Smith, may be John Harbaugh's favorite player. But this will draw the ire of his head coach.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty, first down, Tampa Bay.
You know, and Jimmy knows he's wrong. You could see him shaking his head. He agreed with the official, being respectful now, but he has grown and matured into, I think, one of the top corners in the league. We saw it in the Super Bowl where he was phenomenal in that game, had one well of a season in 2013, and it has really carried over into 2014.
The sports hernia surgery that year, 2012, came back for the playoffs, lights out in that Super Bowl win, certainly in the second half to put the game away. John Harbaugh saying yesterday's practice habits just off the charts. Vincent Jackson on the reception, a pickup of 8. Now back to New York, JB and Coach Bauer for an update.
Coach, all that needs to be said is Peyton Manning. Here we go, third touchdown of the day, 506 on the career. This one, the joyous promise, is right now Denver all over the Jets, 24%. Spiro and Solomon, I've run out of superlatives. Back to Spiro.
With that vocabulary, JB, I doubt it.
So the Jets really in a similar predicament that these Bucs are in, staring down the barrel, Solomon, of 1-5 as Martin needed only a couple, having to get to the 18-yard line. So they will have enough for the first down. But this, shines the light a little bit brighter on their first-year general manager, Jason Licht. All the money that they spent in the offseason. You talked about Logan Mankins, some of the other high-priced players. No one expected 1-4, now potentially 1-5. First and 10. They keep running up right, throwing towards the end zone, incomplete. Jackson covered by Jimmy Smith.
Spiro, to your point, all the money spent during the offseason. Look at it. That's a who's who of Pro Bowlers and really good players. And Michael Johnson, Alteron Verner. We know what Josh McCown did in Chicago 1 year ago. Evan Dietrich Smith coming over from the Packers, and Clinton McDonald, Brandon Myers. These are some really good football players, not to mention the trade for Logan Mankins, and then Mike Evans in the first round of this year's draft at wide receiver to go opposite of Vincent Jackson. They should be playing much better than what we're seeing.
2nd and 10, Glennon towards the end zone, caught for the touchdown. Mike Evans, the rookie wide receiver, 17 yards as the Bucs finally get into the end zone.
Oh, this is incredible. He's the big guy. Take a look at him right up the seam. And see him stem away from the linebacker, C.J. Mosley. He knew he was going to take a hit from Matt Elam on the back end. He was prepared for it. But when you have that frame at 6'5", 230 pounds, you can run into the teeth of the defense at that safety, knowing your big guy's going to catch it and come down with it, even if he takes a lift.
Here's the rookie Murray on for the point after. So Glennon takes him down the field, 92 yards, 7 plays in less than 3 minutes. Evans capping it off with a 17-yard touchdown reception. 38-10, Bucs showing a heartbeat, barely. Week 6 continues later today on Fox, and then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC, a good one between the Giants and the Eagles, and tomorrow night, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Mike Evans, the rookie, didn't play last week with that groin injury. 17-yard touchdown reception for Tampa's first touchdown of the day. Spiro Diaz, Solomon Wilcox, Chris Fisher, our entire CBS crew from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, as Jacoby Jones takes a knee, and they will have it from the 20. Mentioned it earlier, biggest comeback in NFL history, that thriller, January of 1993, Buffalo coming back against Houston.
And without Jim Kelly, you would think that that was a Jim Kelly shootout. Warren Moon. It was Frank Wright, the backup guy. We got a backup guy here today. We got Mike Glennon.
Little synergy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Glennon marches him down 92 yards. Now Flacco back onto the field. 5 touchdown passes in the first half. Over the middle, finds his man, Steve Smith, Sr. 4th in the league in receiving yards entering week 6. That time 17.
I'm sorry, Spiro. You think Flacco was listening with all this talk of a comeback? He goes to work to Steve Smith Sr. over the middle of the field. He must be listening right now. You don't want to hear that talk of a comeback.
Steve Smith with that has passed Art Monk, the all-time great, 17th place on the NFL's all-time receiving yardage list. How about that accomplishment for Steve Smith Sr.? This is for a 6. Trying to get to the 40. So Smith continues to climb the ranks. Guy who entered the league 14 years ago. Solomon, a career that has been just incredible in so many different ways.
And he did play with Cam Newton early part of his career. But I doubt if he played with a quarterback, obviously, with the pedigree that is Joe Flacco. Already having won a Super Bowl has Flacco. And I just think we need to give him a little bit more credit for the job he's doing.
Flacco on 2nd and 7. Over the middle, Aiken had it. Ball came loose. It is ruled an incompletion. Aiken is shaken up. Marker comes in from the secondary. Dangerous position that Aiken was trying to make. Give him all kinds of credit for putting his body on the line.
Incomplete pass, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 23, contact on a defenseless player, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Mark Barron. Remember, can't lead with your head, shoulder, or forearm to the head of a defenseless player. All those components have to be in play. There you can see right there.
So because Aiken was crouched down, didn't have much of a target zone.
What do you do? I mean, I don't.
If you're Barron.
Yeah, I don't think Barron was trying to launch himself. I didn't see that at all.
Very tough penalty for the Bucs to take, as Bernard Pierce has his number called across the 45 down to the 43-yard line after a pickup of 2. So tough to be a defensive back in the NFL these days with all the rule changes. just trying to figure it out really on the fly as they continue to look at Akers.
And we understand the culture change in the National Football League. We want to put safety first. And I'm sure Mark Barron understands that, playing against certain guys that you don't want anyone to leave the game maimed, but you still want to be able to play aggressively.
Flacco has time to throw. It is caught. Steve Smith Sr. right into 30. 13 more yards. Mark Barron, look at Smith now starting to jaw. And Barron, boy, you don't want to get him juiced up 38-10, but Smith just can't help himself.
Oh, yeah, he needs a reason. I mean, he's working here against 21, Alteron Verner. Watch him come back to the ball. Snaps off that route, closes in on it, takes a hit from Barron. And then see right there, this is when he gets up. There's some words being exchanged. Devontae Davidson, go back to your head.
Smith has ravaged this Tampa team over the years. Faced them twice a year, of course, in his time with Carolina. As Pierce keeps his feet churning. Pierce, a guy who's had to deal with injuries, had the concussion early in the season. Didn't start last week. Had the thigh injury, didn't play weeks 3 and 4. As we take another look.
Take a look here. He's going to run, but he'll cut it back up here. But had he stayed outside, you'll see there's a lane going to open up to his right. Now, see, go ahead, stop it right there. See, that was the hole going right through there. That's what we talk about with running backs having greater anticipation for where to hit the hole.
Quick little slant pattern over the middle. Steve Smith Sr. on another catch. First down pass play, a pickup of 11.
That's Steve Smith Sr., I should say, putting in work, catching the ball over the middle of the field. He's given Alteron Verner a handful. Now, remember, Verner came over, taking that position vacated by Darrelle Revis, who they said, well, he's got to play in this defense. We don't need to pay him as much.
Here's Forsett. First down, cuts back across the 15 and close to the 10. With that last catch, Steve Smith Sr. on the day, 5 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown at the 56-yarder. And Joe Flacco, Solomon, 19th career game of over 300 yards passing.
And I could tell you right now, Gary Kubiak has given Flacco probably the best offense that I've seen the Baltimore Ravens have. Right now, what they're doing, throwing the ball, running the football with Forsett, it's really clicking.
So Forsett over the century mark. Rare thing for him. This is the tight end Daniels, a 2-time Pro Bowler, taking on a number of tacklers. We have seen some hard hitting down there, but for Lovie Smith in this defense, it was too little, too late as we come up on the end of the third quarter.
It is, and you getting back to Joe Flacco in this offense for the Baltimore Ravens. You know, the last time they were ranked in the top 10 offensively, you got to go all the way back to 1997. That's a long time ago since they've had an offense ranked as high as they are now, with Kubiak calling the plays and Joe Flacco pulling the trigger.
What does Kubiak call here on 3rd and 2? They keep it on the ground. Pierce, wide load, taking on that defense. Appears to have enough for the first down, needed to get to the 6. Has that and more with a pickup of 3. We were there in Baltimore for the opener. They struggled against Cincinnati. I don't think anyone thought that they'd get to this point, Solomon, just 4 weeks later with the offense that they're putting on the board.
Yeah, and we spoke with Joe Flacco heading into that game, and I told him, I said, you mean to tell me that Vinny Testaverde is the only quarterback in the history of the Baltimore Ravens to throw for 4,000 yards in a single season? And he told us, he said, to heck with 4,000. We're aiming for 5,000. He may get it.
Last play, the corner, and they bang it in for 6. Pierce going right at the gut, 4 yards, and Baltimore pouring it on here in Tampa.
Pierce didn't need any help finding that hole, did he? All you had to do was just follow Felicia Simile, Jeremy Zutaw, and that left side of the center. Take a look at it. Just going to go in and hit it right up the gut. Juszczyk, that's just easy pickings. He gets to the second level. Spiro, I think you could have run that one in. That hole was so clear, so big. I have faith in you.
Thanks for the confidence. I disagree. 11 plays, a drive that started at their own 20 as they build their lead to 40 45-10. Pierce bangs it in from 4. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ravens' first 5 touchdowns on Joe Flacco passes. Runners getting in on the action. Bernard Pierce, 4-yard run. And that has brought us to where we stand right now, 45-10 with 7 seconds left. And boy, a lot to talk about for some very proud players in that defensive huddle. There is Gerald McCoy, Pro Bowler each of the last 2 years. And what we have seen from this defense, Sally, what we haven't seen really just doesn't make any sense.
You don't expect it. Those are a proud group of young men down there. Clinton McDonald, Gerald McCoy, William Golston, Michael Johnson. They're better than this.
Fielded by Patton from his own goal line. Across the 20. As that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. A dominating performance by the Baltimore Ravens, 45-10. We'll return to Tampa after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 45-10 as we welcome you back to Tampa. Spiro Salmon, Will Cots, we check in again with Chris Fisher. Maybe the only happy area in this whole stadium, Chris.
Quite possibly, Spiro. I mean, considering the ship set sail on this game in the first half, most of the fans made their way out here to the ship area. Roger Goodell, a big fan of unique game experiences. Well, it doesn't get much better than this.
All right, Chris, 1st and 10. Bobby Rainey, the ex-Baltimore Raven. Little cutback's going to pick up some more yardage. As he cuts back across towards the middle of the field, Darian Stewart on the tackle, a pickup of 10. Let's go back to Chris.
So Spiro, when you think, obviously happy now that they're finally getting it going. Woo! But we got some beads for you guys. We got the Pirates out here, the Cannons, and yes, they do sound when the Bucs put points on the board or get in the red zone, which they potentially could do right here with Glennon dropping back in shotgun there, Spiro.
All right, Chris, 1st and 10 after the run. Glennon over the middle. It's caught. That's Murphy. 3rd reception of the afternoon. So at least the offense, Solomon, trying to continue after their only touchdown of the afternoon. 24 yards on the catch.
But nice to know they're still at it. The ship hasn't been sunk yet, as we referred to Chris and his ability to have fun on that pirate ship. But this offense continues to at least try to grind. They've got to continue to try to get better with their young quarterback, Glennon. But the offensive line, their ability to protect, that's really where things are falling apart today.
Pass caught. That's Robert Huron, a rookie out of Wyoming. 1st touchdown reception of his brief career last Sunday. Clock continues to run. 16 yards and a Tampa 1st down.
Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of talk about this football team here in town and about the loss of Tedford, Marcus Arroyo, and his role in calling the plays. I do believe they could have adjusted sooner in the passing game. I do believe they could have done some things to help the quarterback get the ball out of his hands quicker by shortening some of the routes. We're seeing that happen on this possession.
Little pitch play to Rainey, finds his spot again. Still going across the 10. And forced out of bounds down close to the 5-yard line to set up a 1st and goal. Darian Stewart pushed him out. Rainey with a 21-yard burst.
And this one might be second guessing. They could have gone to Rainey a little bit sooner. He looks a whole lot better. Look at the big guys coming around the corner, Spiro, creating a seam, and Rainey's just got a good feel for it. He is their leading rusher.
Longest run of the game. Here's Rainey again on 1st and goal. Rainey entered the league undrafted with these Ravens in 2012. To come on in relief of Martin last October when Martin went down with the shoulder injury. And once again, their leading rusher continuing to give them a good secondary option.
He has a stronger average than Martin, 4.7 per game. But he's had some critical fumbles. Fumbled in the game against the Rams. Remember the Atlanta game, critical fumble when they were still in it. So the ability to protect the football has been really important.
Glennon's going to roll out 2nd and goal, throwing corner to the end zone. Caught. Lewis Murphy for the touchdown.
There you go. They're firing the cannons. Again, they're continuing to fight, and that's a good thing. but they've just got to get off the fastest starts. They've got to make these kind of adjustments. Look, move the pocket. Didn't we talk about that earlier, Spiro? That they should move the pocket for Glennon. He throws the ball well on the move, and then a quick short throw. It helps to elude the pass rush. It helps him to get the ball out of his hands faster.
Murphy, the 60th man, local kid out of St. Petersburg, Florida, a short drive from where we are here. Had a good camp with the Bucs, then went down in their last preseason game with an injury. Had to cut him in their final cut down. Re-signed him before the Steelers game. Going into week 4, had a huge catch in that game. Set up Vincent Jackson's game winner. And Murphy with a 3-yard touchdown grab. 45-17 on CBS.
You are watching the NFL on CBS.
Early stages, fourth quarter, second touchdown drive for the Bucs. 76 yards under 3 minutes as Louis Murphy with a 3-yard touchdown reception. Second touchdown pass for the second-year quarterback, Mike Glennon. Michael Cannon, 10th-year kicker, boots it away. And Jones is going to play it from about 9 yards deep in his own end zone. Out across the 15 to the 20, 25, still going. Jones cutting back over the middle of the field, past the 40, 45, and crunched out close to the 48-yard line. Brandon McGee on a tackle, 59 yards on the return from Jones. Flacco still in the game when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Outback Steakhouse. Outback, no rules, just right. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
No, Sally, you like this. Ybor City, little cigar shop. Hand rolling those babies.
Everywhere you took me this weekend, you didn't take me there.
Ybor City, historic area, just outside downtown here, just northeast of the downtown part of the city. We'll have to put that on our itinerary for our next trip here to Tampa.
Well, you figure on a birthday weekend, you would have had that kind of thing sorted out.
Sadly, we dropped the ball. Offense today, as Tampa Bay trying to shore up the gap in what has been an arduous struggle, to say the least. Bernard Pierce on first down. Sally, any surprise that Flacco's still in this game, 45-17?
And I know what you're thinking. I think it's a good question because there are several things that come to mind if you're John Harbaugh. Injury is a concern, but remember, Joe Flacco's a competitor. I know Tyrod Taylor, he wants to get in and play, and there's this thought that, you know, that the Ravens need to call off the dogs, and sportsmanship comes into play. But I remember Peyton Manning being in a lot of these games. I don't remember him yielding to his backup, Jim Sorting, right? And allow him to come and play. So, you know, Flacco's a guy that earned the right to be here in this moment and in this situation.
And you see that little drop graphic. Tony Banks, the last Ravens quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns in a game 14 years ago. Just to put what Flacco has done today in perspective, 5 touchdown passes, Solomon, to 4 different players, so he has spread the wealth. Torrey Smith with 2 of them.
Now, I know this. I remember Bill Parcells used to always say, it's not my job to beat me, it's your job to beat me. So there's no calling off the dogs in the National Football League. We saw an epic come-from-behind victory by the Cleveland Browns last week against the Tennessee Titans. At what time do you take your foot off the pedal? I do believe, though, at some point you got to get Tyrod Taylor in the game, get him some work, and rest Flacco once you believe the job is done.
Little pitch play. This is Forsett getting to the outside. First down, running more. Taking on a tackler as they cross midfield inside Tampa territory. That's the other part of Flacco, Solomon, that's so impressive, his durability as he continues what has been this long consecutive games play streak.
Absolutely. Take a look. They get the tackle on the outside, and watch Levante David. That little shove right there by the tackle. And that's going to be Wagner. Just a little shove, enough to allow the running back to get to the edge of the defense.
Flacco today playing his 102nd straight game as a starter. That is 3rd among active quarterbacks behind only Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers. Justin Forsett, 111 yards on the ground after that last take. This is Bernard Pierce barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. We go back downstairs to Chris Fisher.
Gentlemen, Tyrod Taylor's holding the football right now by himself, standing at about the 37-yard line, waiting to go in, it appears. But as of right now, he has no sign. He looks warmed up and ready to go, Spiro.
Tyrod Taylor, the fourth-year quarterback out of Virginia Tech, former sixth-round pick. He's only completed 19 passes in his NFL career, but when you back up Joe Flacco, you just don't get many chances. Here's Pierce again, trying to bang his way through, getting to the 30. And brought down by Mason Foster, the fourth-year middle linebacker, who is back today after missing the last 3 games with a shoulder injury.
I think we saw the note just a few plays ago. The Ravens offense have that 300-yard passer in Joe Flacco, a 100-yard rusher in Forsett, and Steve Smith Sr. gone over 100 yards receiving. With Gary Kubiak, their coordinator, calling plays, they can get ready for a lot of those kinds of days. We saw it in Houston. We saw it when he ran plays for Mike Shanahan in Denver. Everywhere he's gone, his offenses have put up huge numbers.
3rd and 6. Pierce breaking the initial tackle, then wrapped up. Gerald McCoy getting in on it. Levante David is there. As now John Harbaugh will send out his field goal team. Justin Tucker to attempt another long kick. Clock continues to run, trying to wind that baby down. As the Ravens getting awfully close to their 4th win of the season. Tucker hitting from 46, had a 64-yard attempt to end the first half, blocked, and this time from 49. Tucker's got the leg, and it is perfect. So the Pro Bowl 3rd-year kicker Tucker tacks on 3 more. 48-17. Ravens on CBS. Tonight on 60 Minutes, meet the most wanted man in the world. He avoided arrest for years and spent millions on his escape. See how he did it. 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. Ravens have hit the 50-point plateau just once in their franchise history. Did it in November of 2012 against Oakland. This is Solomon Patton. Crossed the 10, brought down at the 15-yard line. So you look at the Ravens, looks to be that they will get to 4-2. Solomon trying to keep pace with Cincinnati. The Bengals, of course, beating them in Baltimore week 1. But you wonder what the ceiling is now as Flacco and this offense, Solomon, continues to get better and better and better.
The ceiling is very high. I could see them being a top 10 offense and their ability to run the football. And Joe Flacco does a good job of taking care of the ball and has as good an arm as any quarterback in the NFL.
Disappointing loss at the Colts last Sunday against Andrew Luck and company. Offense that was in disarray. Boy, have they picked up the pieces in a big way. As Murphy, who had the touchdown reception early in the quarter, picks up 9 through the air from Glennon.
And what happens to Tampa from here? They're going to fall to 1-5. A lot of people are going to talk, but they still have talent. We've seen teams go into the second half of a season and do a miraculous turnaround, and maybe it doesn't result into the playoffs. It's too early to talk about that. But we've seen teams get it going when you have this kind of talent.
Glennon over the middle, completes again. That's Jackson. You know, today, tough to get the running game going when you're down 35-0, but at some point they have to get their ground game going to give a guy like Glennon some help. Doug Martin continues to struggle. Solomon, maybe they give Bobby Rainey a chance to start in some more touches moving forward.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we talked to their head coach, Lovie Smith, said this team needs a running. They need a top-notch runner to really help fuel the offense.
Glennon completes. That's the tight end. Right at the 35-yard line, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, the rookie, 6 yards. The linebacker, Darryl Smith, their second leading tackler behind the rookie, C.J. Mosley.
This defense, I think Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator, we can't say enough about what his defense has been. Even last week in that loss to Andrew Luck and company, boy, they played lights out then.
Glennon's pass completed far side of the field to Murphy for a Tampa Bay first down. They limited Andrew Luck and Indianapolis' highest scoring offense in the league to 14 points below their season average.
And forced 4 turnovers. 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions off the talented Andrew Luck. They shut him down. Played very good inside the red zone.
Hurry.
Murphy putting together a nice little game here in garbage time. Glennon throwing again in the face of pressure to Murphy again. 7 yards up the sideline as they cross the 50.
Oh, take a look at this. Good route there, but watch how he comes back to the ball. He caught that one just inches away from the ground. Was able to pluck it. It was Lewis Murphy.
We saw Ravens cornerback Lardarius Webb leave the game earlier as they were looking at his back. Webb has come back since then. Glennon completes again. Here's Haran getting down to the 30, 15 yards. And now finally Glennon, they've given him a chance, starting to pick up some rhythm.
Yeah, and we were talking about take out Flacco like everything's okay. Look, Tampa's still trying to score. They're still getting things done on offense.
Glennon, hard to believe, up over 300 yards passing now. 22 of 37, 306, couple of touchdowns and a pick. Under 5 to play, Glennon throws it deep down the field. And a late marker coming in, secondary. Jimmy Smith on the coverage against the rookie Evans. Here's Boger.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22. Spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
It looked like Jimmy Smith had good position in front of him. Let's see if he grabs cloth. See, he's in front of him right there. Now that's one of those. Remember, they talked about if there was any grabbing of the cloth by the defender, then they would call it. But you are entitled to that positioning on the field in front of the receiver, even if you're beyond 5 yards. That's a very interesting call there. I'm sure he thought he was in the right.
I had a chance to visit with Jimmy Smith yesterday. Had a lot of praise from Mike Glennon, who he said is Flacco-ish with the way that he plays. Safarian Jenkins, another catch. But this is the part of the field where a guy like Jimmy Smith is even more effective defending Solomon in the red zone.
He talked about covering with his feet and how when he gets down and around the goal line, how he wants to get a better positioning on these 6'5" wide receivers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he talked about having vision in on the ball. He said, all I need to do is play in front of them because the field isn't as deep down in this area of the field. He said deep isn't real deep when you're playing inside the red zone.
Harbaugh said before the season he felt that Jimmy Smith would make history as a cornerback in this league. High praise, especially from a guy like Harbaugh, as Rainey, the intended receiver, had no chance at the football. Clock stopped at 3:51 to play, 48-17 as we take another look.
Take a look. Yeah, ball coming out, and defending on the play is Jeremy Miles. But see, Miles doesn't get back vision on the ball. Could easily be called for pass interference if the ball is thrown maybe in a better positioning. That's what Jimmy Smith had talked about, is having vision on the ball down here. Everything happens really fast. Glennon's going to cut it loose. If you're not looking, you can't make a play on the ball.
So sometimes the stats are empty. As you saw Glennon's second half passing numbers, he's actually thrown for more as that one falls incomplete for Safarian Jenkins. He's thrown for more yardage now in this game than Flacco. Hard to believe. Flacco, of course, with the 5 touchdown passes. And that's been the difference.
This is the one that Jimmy Smith said was the deadliest of them all in the red zone. What did he say? That back shoulder fade is the most difficult one to defend. Also very difficult to complete.
No choice here but to go for it. 4th and 2. They line up at the 12 with under 4 minutes left. 3 wides for Glennon. Never had a chance. Elvis Dumerville leading the charge for the Ravens. 5th sack of Glennon.
Well, they are able to get the sack. Pressure on Glennon. It's been all day.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Subway Restaurants. Get to Subway for the Meatball Marinara, the $5 footlong of October.
Thursday, your football starts here. Rex Ryan's Jets against Tom Brady and their rivals from New England, the Patriots. Another big-time matchup going primetime, CBS and NFL Network. Quarterback change, Tyrod Taylor onto the field. They give it on the ground. This is Lorenzo Taliaferro, the big rookie running back, scampering 25 yards for the first down. Tyrod Taylor, first appearance of the season, 14th of his career. Former 6th-round pick out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, he was a real good collegiate player. But in his 3rd year as an understudy to Joe Flacco, finally getting an opportunity to play. And I think it's appropriate to bring him in at this phase. When do you give your backup quarterback some work? Usually when you have a big lead, game in control, go ahead and allow him to get some real-time action. You never know when you're going to need the backup quarterback.
This is Taliaferro again. Another running back that Garrett Kubiak has at his disposal. 4-yard run for Taliaferro, a guy who led the league in rushing in the preseason. And he has had some moments, Sal. I mean, we've seen the Ravens a couple of times this year before today. And this kid Taliaferro is very, very good.
And Harbaugh is blessed to have a general manager like Ozzie Newsome who knows how to mine the college campuses for talent. Found Lorenzo Taliaferro at Coastal Carolina. 6 feet, 230, 4th-round pick in the 2014 draft. He's already paid off for this football team.
Here we go. What is that?
Taliaferro actually their second leading rusher with those. They move to snap. Ravens haven't turned it over all day. They do right there. Rare mistake.
That's when you talk about taking a quarterback out. See, all those kind of things go through the mind of the coach. But it's also a new center. See, Gino Gretkowski, he's in the game, and you have a new quarterback who's also in the game. And that's what happens with the football team. You say, well, let's get the quarterback out. Well, you can't take everyone out, right? And then you start taking other guys out. Now the level of play comes down. The biggest fear of a head coach is when you start pulling your #1 guys off the field.
Well, the good news for Harbaugh is his team is up 48-17. But you want to strive for perfection if you're a coach. Harbaugh looking none too pleased.
5-0. Who are we going to go? 5-0.
As Glennon and this offense back onto the field, 1st and 10 with 2:07 left. Ravens defense looking for more. Glennon, as Jackson had a clean release. But Glennon just did not have any time to plant his feet and throw. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. 48-17. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Keep it here for the Subway postgame show coming your way. Next, we'll send you to New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, Coach Cowher with all the latest scores and highlights. The Subway postgame show, plus bonus coverage of the Jets and Broncos from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford coming up. Final 2 minutes, 48-17. As Glennon goes it out, boy, Evans had it, may have lost it in the sun. Couple long catches earlier today. So
check this out. He's wide open here. See, once he hit him. I don't know where the ball's being thrown. He did appear as though he lost it in the sun, but Glennon could have thrown the ball to him where it was much more catchable. He was wide open on the play.
Shockey Brown, the man who was beaten on the play. A little bit too much air under that pass from Glennon. And look at the Bucs on 3rd down today, just 2 of 11. Here they come, backside blitz. Glennon took a shot, completes, and now it is jarred loose. Let's see what the call is. Vincent Jackson had it, and now they say incomplete.
Wow, that was a bang-bang kind of play. Sure, they're going to look at it. 1-2. Did he ever have it put away? We saw one of these kind of plays in the Thursday night game. Did he catch it and control it? Looked like he had made a football move, but the ball was still moving as well. See, let's see if he caught the ball and controlled it. I don't know that he had complete catch and control. So that would render it an incompleted pass.
Good call, break for the Bucs. And what would have been a fumble? Fourth down play, they roll the dice. Why not? Come up short, intended for Jackson, as Glennon incomplete on his last 6 attempts. Now let's get you updated on what the AFC North is going to look like. The Cleveland Browns are beating up the Pittsburgh Steelers, so we give them and the Ravens the win. Cincinnati right now against Carolina, they are down in a very tight game there down the stretch, and this thing could get very, very interesting, as Cincinnati, I'm told, has just tied it against the Panthers.
And that's something. And there was so much talk about how Ben Roethlisberger had owned the Ohio team, Cincinnati Bengals. He's often beaten the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns only beat him once since Big Ben's been the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, but they get the resounding win in Cleveland over the Steelers today.
Bengals at home against the Panthers, all tied at 31 as they play with about 4 minutes left in that fourth quarter. And John Harbaugh acknowledging the huge contingent of Ravens fans behind their bench.
That's about all that's left here, right?
What a day for Joe Flacco. 5 touchdown passes, most by a Ravens quarterback in 14 years.
He's going for that 5,000-yard season, Spiro. Enough of this talk about Vinny Testaverde, right?
I've seen him today. Such a cool customer. As Flacco is going to get the Ravens to 4-2. Coming up, the Subway postgame show from New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher with all the latest scores and highlights. All next on the Subway postgame show, plus bonus coverage between the Jets and the Broncos. A look at what's ahead for the Ravens. Tough stretch, 3 of the next 4 on the road, including today. Home next week for Atlanta. But they will celebrate a monstrous victory, 48-17 here in Tampa.
Started with the offensive line. They were great blocking in the run game, and Joe Flacco needed the balance to attack the secondary, and 5 touchdown passes on the day. Doesn't get much better than that.
Special thanks to our crew, producer Vic Frank, our director Chris Fenson, Andy Friedman, Steve Murphy, Justin Haley, the entire crew, Russ DeLynn, our statistician, and Rich Gaynor, our spotter. 48-17, your final. Coming up next, this Subway postgame show from New York. Now for Chris Fisher, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew, Spiro Dedes saying so long from Tampa. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We now go to James Brown in New York after this message.